I had to focus and create a character in Bagger Vance, not just do my Will Smith thing and get paid. When I was growing up, I installed refrigerators in supermarkets. My father was an electrical engineer. If it was something that I really committed myself to, I don't think there's anything that could stop me becoming president of the United States. I mean, I'm very serious with my kids about them comprehending the intricacies of global finance. As a child, I watched Dallas, and that was my vision for my life for as long as I could remember. I would have absolutely messed up The Matrix. The first time that I performed as an actor was the first day on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I try to speak my points of view about Black America and how I feel about Black men and the role that Black men should play in their lives with their children and in their lives with their women. I think with movies, I am really connecting to the Joseph Campbell idea of the collective unconscious. I had a hit single on the radio for 30 days before I graduated from high school. My skin is hard when it comes to my music, but with my movies, I'm still a virgin in a lot of ways. I'm not used to being shot down for no reason. And where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. Fear is not real. It is a product of thoughts you create. Do not let fear control you. Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a yacht big enough to sail right past it. I mean, I'm very serious with my kids about them comprehending the intricacies of global finance. If we don't learn to love ourselves, we're going to have a hard time loving anybody else. Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. I'm always looking for the next challenge. I'm not afraid to fail. Failure is just a stepping stone to success. I believe in the power of the human spirit. I believe that anything is possible. I believe that we all have the potential to be great. I believe that we should never give up on our dreams. I believe that we should always strive to be better. I believe that we should always be kind to others. I believe that we should always make the world a better place. I believe that we should always love ourselves. I believe that we should always be grateful for what we have. I believe that we should always be willing to learn. I believe that we should always be willing to grow. I believe that we should always be willing to change. I believe that we should always be willing to forgive. I believe that we should always be willing to help others. I believe that we should always be willing to make a difference. I believe that we should always be willing to stand up for what we believe in. I believe that we should always be willing to fight for what is right. I believe that we should always be willing to love. I believe that we should always be willing to be loved. I believe that we should always be willing to be happy. I believe that we should always be willing to live. I believe that we should always be willing to die. I believe that we should always be willing to be the change we want to see in the world. I believe that we should always be willing to make a difference in the world. I believe that we should always be willing to leave the world a better place than we found it. I believe that we should always be willing to be the best versions of ourselves. I believe that we should always be willing to strive for greatness. I believe that we should always be willing to reach for the stars. I believe that we should always be willing to believe in ourselves. I believe that we should always be willing to dream. I believe that we should always be willing to hope. I believe that we should always be willing to love. I believe that we should always be willing to live. I believe that we should always be willing to die.
Subscribe and like to watch such videos.